So 30 years ago, I was sound asleep and I awoke to find my wife screaming and trying her best to prevent me from hurting her anymore. I was hitting her and kicking her. In my dream, I was defending against some animal that was attacking me, but I wake up to find myself beating on my wife. That was so disturbing. And it actually took 2 years of going through more and more frequent experiences like that before we actually got a name put on it and got some treatment. And it I think that what's helped me the most over all these years is that I came into this 30 years ago with 20 years of daily meditation already. And so it's 50 years now of meditation. And it's not a medical intervention, but for me, it has really allowed me to just find some peace and balance in the midst of all this turmoil. So, along with doctors and medications and diet and exercise, healthy living, I think my meditation practice has been the best thing I could have done and still do. I've had 17 different sleep doctors or neurologists in 30 years.
Wow.
I've been prescribed 31 medications in all that time. It's a constant dance, and it's so easy to feel isolated and alone with it. And I believe that our community engagement board can take steps towards making RBD patients feel less isolated. That seems so critical to me. We first moved to a bigger bed. We put pillows down between us to try and make it safe for her. Eventually, we just had to be in separate beds. And then eventually, in separate rooms was the only way to really be safe.
Mm.
Now I have nothing hard anywhere around my bed. If I fall out of bed or jump out of bed, I don't have far to go and there's nothing to hit. I mean, you have to make your sleeping environment safe. I'm a strict vegan. I don't do alcohol or tobacco. I have a very regular daily exercise regimen. I also am enrolled in both the NAPS study and the Fox Foundation PPMI study. And I've been in PPMI since 2012. So that's 14 years ago, and NAPS since it was started. To me, being involved in the research is just so important for me to feel not only that I'm not alone and I have good resources to turn to, but that it gives some meaning and purpose to having RBD. It feels like, yes, I am here in my house living with this day to day, but I'm also part of something bigger and being helpful as much as I can. It's like being on the community engagement board. I feel like everything I can do to help our community gives more meaning to the fact that I've been living with this for 30 years. I have had the experience of communicating with people who have newly been diagnosed with RBD, or even before they're diagnosed, searching online for, what are these symptoms? What's this all about? And often what that person will find online are very scary statistics. And I always say, here I am. I've had this 30 years. It hasn't gone beyond RBD. And so you got to take those statistics as just what they are. They don't necessarily define what's going to happen to you. I think you got to get as much good information, but don't just buy into the most scary stuff. So I have found that my daily meditation practice, my vegan diet, my exercise routine, just all the healthy lifestyle choices I've made feel like they have kept me in as good a shape as possible through all this time. And the fact that I'm an outlier in terms of having had RBD for so many years without phenoconversion to one of the neurodegenerative disorders, I have to think that all those choices I've made are helping to slow that progression down. Clinical evidence says clearly exercise is one thing that we can do to slow progression down. Beyond that, nobody really knows yet. However, every doctor I've seen, when we get into it, says, oh, just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing everything you can to keep your brain healthy. So I have a lot of motivation. Even without RBD, I would be doing these things. This is who I am in my life, but it sure seems to be helping me. And I don't think of that as prescriptive advice for other RBD patients. It's
Mm.
totally up to what works for people, but that's my story. And I'm very happy with what I'm doing.